From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, November 3rd. Temps are going to be near normal for this time of year to end the work week. We'll see some cloud cover and a little bit of wind gusts, 25, 35 miles per hour at times. Highs will top in the upper 50s. And then for the weekend, highs are going to get back into the 60s, which is a little above average. So a wonderful Saturday and Sunday. IU head coach Mike Woodson is reflecting on his former coach and Hoosier legend Bob Knight's legacy. Woodson graduated from Broad Ripple High before Knight recruited him in the late 70s. He credits the General for helping him land his first coaching job in the NBA, and Woodson says Knight attended several of those games. He also played for Knight's Team USA in a gold medal game versus Puerto Rico.
I was the captain of that team, and I remember him calling the timeout. And he grabbed me by my jersey and he pulled me into his face. And from the viewer's eyes, you guys probably thought, hey, he's up to no good. And he pulled me and he said, Woody, don't let us lose the gold medal. And we went back out and went on a 9-0 run to bring the gold medal home.
Woodson says Coach Knight will be remembered for his preparedness and attention to detail. And Steve Alford, former Hoosier, standout and All-American, was part of the 1987 national title team. Alford says he always wanted to play for Knight. News 8's Richard Essex sat down with Alford, who shared his memories of Coach Knight.
Well, obviously his health has been declining, so I saw him about a month ago. He wasn't doing very well, so it wasn't really communicative. It was more, I've got to see Pat, his son, spend about 3 hours in the home and see Pat, and that was a lot of reflecting, and I think it was helpful, hopefully helpful for Pat. It was definitely helpful for me.
Steve Alford knew in the third grade that he wanted to be a Hoosier. He committed to Coach Knight's program his junior year in high school.
Well, my first interaction was in third grade. I started going to his camps from third grade all the way through 12th grade. So my dream, every workout I did on the driveway or at Newcastle Fieldhouse, it was preparing myself to hopefully be good enough that he would be interested in me. And then when I committed to him prior to my junior year, that was the most special moment. He called my dad. Dad pulled me out of the cafeteria and said that Coach had just called and had offered me a scholarship and wanted to know what I wanted to say. And I said, obviously it's yes. And, my dad's like, I figured that, so I already told him that, so I don't have to call him back. So it was always about when Coach was ready to make that commitment, I'd already made that commitment.
Alford entered Indiana University in the fall of 1983 with high expectations from Coach Knight and the university. He would play for Coach Knight on the 1984 Olympic team. He eventually led the Hoosiers to a national championship in 1987. His three-point buzzer beater at the half sent the team up by 1 going into the locker room. He said Coach Knight was a teacher first, and the lessons Alford learned he is passing down to his players at Nevada.
Well, hopefully a lot. One's notebooks. We had notebooks at Indiana because he told us we were another class. He was a professor teaching basketball. And just like he expected us to be on time, attend every day, work hard, work with energy, work with diligent discipline. He expected that no matter what other class we had, biology, math, English, whatever it was. And so we learned. I saw him kick players off. I saw him suspend players for not attending class or doing what they were supposed to do academically. And so it didn't matter to Coach how it was going to affect the team. You were going to be a student before you were an athlete. And I think that's why the vast majority of his players have graduated.
Alford spent a couple of years in the NBA. He started coaching college basketball in 1991. He faced Coach Knight as the head coach at Iowa. The relationship with Alford, the coach, and the university was viewed as frosty at the time.
No, because I think a lot of that was blown way out of proportion. I think it had to do when I was at Iowa and he was at Indiana and we were in the same league. And so it was the media of the Big Ten. And then obviously things started happening, unfortunately, in Indiana. And then there was all rumors here, rumors there. And we talked quite a bit during those times. And he knew where I was. He's always known where I was. With my respect for him, my love for him, it's unconditional. And I wanted Coach Knight to be at Indiana forever.
Alford scored more than 2,400 points in Indiana, but he tells me he got much more than that from his coach. In Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV.
We have our extensive coverage of the general's death on wishtv.com. Just go to our website and look for these stories in our As Seen On section. There are several of them. You'll also find a photo gallery of Bob Knight over the years. In other news, hospitals in Gaza face a grim reality. Officials say that they're struggling to treat wounded children after 2 Israeli airstrikes destroyed a refugee camp earlier this week. They say it flattened an entire block of apartments and damaged 2 UN shelters, sending rubble-covered Palestinians, big and small, to hospitals too packed to treat them. Now, Egypt says it's doing anything it can to help those injured. Yesterday, 20 ambulances arrived at the Rafah border crossing. They were lined up to treat hurt refugees. More than 3,700 Palestinian children and minors have died, and thousands have evacuated from their homes. The United Nations says there's low supply of food, water, and fuel. Paramedics and first responders are struggling to evacuate the wounded and dead because of the crippled infrastructure. Gaza's civil defense says at least 15 people died after the refugee camp attack. The Indiana Supreme Court has reprimanded Attorney General Todd Rokita for his handling of the case of a local doctor who performed an abortion for a 10-year-old rape victim. The court issued the reprimand yesterday, saying Rokita admitted to violating the rules of professional conduct in his comments made during a Fox News interview. The case involved Dr. Caitlin Bernard, who said she performed an abortion for the rape victim from Ohio. Rokita has since denied violating any laws in response to the court. And News 8 reached out to Dr. Caitlin Bernard's lawyer for a statement. She says, as part of the settlement agreement, Mr. Rokita admitted to violating 2 attorney ethics rules by attacking Dr. Bernard on national television. His public statements should reflect that fact, and we expect a prompt and sincere apology to Dr. Bernard. And the Moselle Sanders Foundation is in the holiday spirit. It held its annual Give Back luncheon Thursday. Organizers say it raises awareness for their Thanksgiving Meals program and encourages people to vote. Both Mayor Joe Hogsett and Republican candidate Jefferson Shreve were there. The lunch was at George's Neighborhood Grill on the east side. Wish TV is once again partnering up with the Moselle Sanders Foundation, and we need your help to give thousands a free Thanksgiving meal. Just grab your phone, text Moselle to 53555. Moselle, Mozel, to 53555 to donate right now. $20 feeds a family of 4. We also have a donation link on wishtv.com. And to business headlines, seasonal hiring announcements this year are the slowest since 2013. Consulting firm Challenger, Gray, and Christmas say firms have announced 573,300 seasonal positions through October, with Amazon, Target, and UPS leading the way. And this morning, the numbers are out. U.S. employers scaled back their hiring in October, adding 150,000 jobs in the face of higher borrowing rates. And women now make up at least half of full-time MBA students at 5 top business schools. The rising share of female MBA candidates reflects business schools' concerted efforts to recruit more women in recent years. It's according to Forte Foundation, a nonprofit focused on advancing women into leadership roles via access to business education. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was convicted of stealing billions of dollars from customers of the doomed crypto exchange in what prosecutors called one of the biggest financial frauds in U.S. history. Jurors reached their verdict after just a few hours of deliberations. A sentencing date was set for March 28th of 2024. He could face a decades-long prison term. YouTube is implementing new safeguards that could help prevent the platform from sending teen users to potentially harmful content. The platform plans to limit repeated content recommendations for videos on certain topics, including content that idealizes certain body weight. The change came out of the work with YouTube's advisory board of third-party youth wellness experts. ESPN announces the launch date of its sports betting app. November 14th, ESPN Bet will go live in 17 states, including Indiana. Penn Entertainment is transitioning its Barstool Sportsbook product to ESPN Bet, and in less than 2 weeks, it will officially switch the brand. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.